Good evening and welcome to the Monday, August 28th, 2023 meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen. We've just come out of a paperwork session. I'd like to begin the meeting by everyone rising and saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Selectman Lynch will not be with us tonight. He's on vacation. They're away at the beach somewhere. Hopefully he doesn't get harpooned. All right. Up first, we have review and approval of consent items. We have an AP manifest for August 22nd, 2023 in the amount of $25,896.14. We have one for August 29th, 2023 in the amount of $37,245.49. We have a payroll manifest for August 24th, 2023 in the amount of $50,876.16. And for August 31st, 2023 in the amount of $50,037.75. Is there anything that anybody would like to remove?
For one other one.
Is that? Oh.
You want to have that one?
Yep, we'll do that too. We also have a addition to the consent item, the approval of the MS1 for 2023 will be added to the consent items as well. Is there anything anybody would like to remove or has discussion on? If not, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion for Mr. Weber,
Second.
second by Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. All right. Requests for other items or other business?
I'd like to add one item, interview of George Lavish at 13 Pearson Street to the Litchfield Conservation Committee.
Okay, we can do that. We don't need to vote on that. Right?
What?
We don't need a motion to vote for that.
No, nope.
She's shaking her head.
Well, no, to add it on to,
Oh, to add it?
okay.
All right, we'll entertain a motion to add that to the
All right,
agenda.
so moved.
Motion from Mr. Gannon,
Second.
You can have it.
second from Mr. Weber. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Thank you for keeping us clean. All right. All right, business. We have the approval of the minutes for August 14th, 2023. Anybody had a chance to look at them, and any questions, comments, or threats?
No, they look fine to me, but I don't know what other people want to say.
Anybody? I thought they looked all right.
No issues.
Okay. So, motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for
Motion from Ms.
August
Queenan,
14th.
I'll second it.
second from Mr. Gannon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
Motion carries 301. Up next, we have Matthew Haley, Eagle Scout Project Proposal. Come on up.
So,
How you doing?
Well, just name and address for the record, so we all
Yeah.
know who you are.
Matthew Haley and 60 Pilgrim Drive.
60 Pilgrim Drive. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Well, I am a life scout for the Boy Scouts in Troop 11 here in the town, and I am proposing my Eagle project for the first responders here. So I'll just move on through here. So my goal is to, number one, design a flag for the fire department here in Litchfield, as they don't actually have one yet. And then right over there, I believe, where the first responders monument is that my brother placed down, I want to place 2 flagpoles on each side. And then one of them will have the Litchfield Fire Department flag, and the other one will have the Litchfield Police Department flag. And that right there is the picture. I'm sure we all know what it is anyway, because we drive past it every day. So first of all, I have to clear out the area as well, because there's probably overgrowth, and install the flagpoles. There's going to be some cement built around the area behind the monument there, so that the poles can sit tightly. And all that's going to go down once this is all approved and completed, and I will be raising the flags as well there. So we do have 4 choices for the colors of the flag. Those are what they say, but right over here is what the different flags are, and I have already presented these to the fire department and through email, and I'm hopefully going to get a response soon. And once I get a response on that, I can move through with the designing of the flag, the physical flag itself. But those are the 4 flags that I do have.
Okay.
And of course, they can make any changes they would like to. And in order for this to move forward, I do need the approval of the Board of Selectmen and this paper is signed. So that's my Eagle project.
All right. Does anybody have any?
Nope, like it.
I think it's great, especially adding to what your brother did.
Yeah.
That's really good.
The only question I might have, if you go back to the picture of the monument that's there now, are you gonna have enough room between there and the trees? Will you have to remove any of those trees, or is it gonna be uptight to the monument?
It'll be closer to the monument.
Closer to
I
the
don't think
monument?
I'll have
Okay.
to move many trees for that.
Okay, perfect. And then the only other thing I would say is on the thing, the emblem for the flag, just get with the fire department, because it's, you know, it's they're the
Yeah.
professionals on that end, and whatever you guys come up with, I'm sure we'll endorse 100%.
Awesome.
Anything else?
No, I think it's great.
It's good. Kim?
So I'm just curious, so how have you fundraised?
So we are going to start fundraising by we're going to be selling not mini versions. We're going to be selling versions of the flags as well for fundraising, and there's going to be other things that go on. We're going to have to be able to pay for the poles and the cement and stuff like that, and we will most likely be getting that through selling both the fire flag, and we're also planning on selling some of the police flags as well around town. So
Very good.
Definitely
great.
keep us,
yeah.
come see us, okay?
Yeah. Very nice.
Thank you.
Um, okay. So, we have to,
So I'll make a motion to approve Matthew Healy's Eagle Scout project proposal as presented.
we have a motion from Mr. Weber,
I'll second.
we have a second from Ms. Queen. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 400. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Keeping the troop going. I don't even think I have my shirt anymore, but I do have my book.
We don't need to see you in your shirt. I don't think it fit like you did.
It's politically incorrect now.
It would be on me. All right. Very good. Congratulations. Mhm. Get my thing to work. So next we have, you want to do the George Lavish interview?
Sure.
Well, let's do that. George Lavish. Hey, come on up, buddy.
Hi, George Lavash, 13 Pearson Street, Litchfield.
Okay, how you doing?
Good.
Welcome. All right. So you wish to be on
Conservation.
conservation. Very nice.
Yeah, so I
Some more about yourself.
went to a meeting a couple months ago, and I just retired about a year and a half ago, so I've got some free time, so I saw what they were doing, and I decided that I could join and, you know, help with the mowing and the upkeep and whatever else they need to do.
Mr. Brennan's here too. so-
He's happy.
He's happy?
He's got somebody to do all the mowing of the.
It's the nicest lawn on PSN.
Conservation voted him in on August 3rd.
They voted him in?
To bring him forth.
Unanimously as an
I guess I have a nice
as an
lawn,
alternate.
so I guess that qualifies me. So my parents used to own a greenhouse business in Merrimack, so I grew up, you know, in a greenhouse business. We had our own landscaping business.
Okay.
Keeping with the theme tonight, I'm also an Eagle Scout, so maybe
Oh, wow.
that helps.
Very nice.
Um,
Okay.
I also run the haunted house on Pearson Street. That could go either for or against me.
Nice. Very nice.
You want to join rec too?
I've already coached my son and a bunch of kids in town through soccer, basketball, and baseball, and I was the vice president of the Baseball Association for a while, and also on the basketball.
So you're perfect for it.
Yeah.
Right, Peter? Working for us here.
Let's have Pete and Jay wrestle, and whoever wins gets George.
So, we entertain a motion to appoint?
I'll make a motion to approve George Lavish to appoint him as a member of the Conservation Commission.
Term ending, do we know when the term ends?
I do not, but he's an alternate.
He's an alternate?
The
Okay.
alternate.
He's an alternate member of the Conservation Commission, okay.
Yes.
Good, we have a motion from Mr. Gannon,
I will second.
second from Mr. Weber. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, George. Appreciate
If you
it.
could please see Laura in the town clerk's office so that she can swear you in, and that paperwork will have your expiration date on it.
Okay.
And we'll send a
My-
copy over to
When I'm
Mr.
gonna
Brennan.
die or when I get out?
No, she needs to swear you in, so,
Yeah.
before your first meeting.
Okay, sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Different expiration date. All right. What's up next?
Veterans Park.
Yes, Veterans Park. Come on up. We have the amended site for the Veterans Park.
Bob Jacques, 18 Lock Mill Drive.
Brought his posse with him.
Thank you. In the back, some of them.
Okay.
So we had to do an amendment because we had a site because of drainage, and that we had to come back to you all to go ahead and get approval. So we had to take out about 10 trees.
So you had the site guy there, you had building inspector, the road agent, and everybody else. There was a meeting out there, full
Exactly,
meeting.
right, yes,
And you all decided that you needed to move.
right.
Okay.
The town administrator was there as well.
Yeah, because of drainage issues.
Yeah.
So, then where's it gonna go now?
It's gonna go in, on the same side as where the, as you come in Liberty Way to the left, just before the clearing, before the opening.
So we're actually taking it and just moving it a little bit to the left. There was some concern about it lining up directly with the
Fire.
driveway for the police.
Okay.
We wanted to keep that area clear, and there was some drainage issues.
Okay.
So we had Jeff there and the road agent there, and I think we all decided that it was an optimum place to just move it slightly. It's not even that much of a move.
Yeah.
Closer towards the fire station.
Closer to the fire
Right.
station.
Yeah. It looks like it's parallel right to the access road in front of it.
Yes, and really, people will probably be parking in that middle lot. We did think that we should take 2 of the fire station parking spaces
For handicap.
and make them
Handicap.
handicapped.
Right.
That'd be great. Because you got the access road right there and just go right across.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would work out well, too. Okay. So, we'll entertain a motion to approve the amended site plan for the Veterans Park.
I'll make a motion to approve the
Motion from
Veterans
Ms.
Park.
Queenie?
Yep.
I'll second it.
The site plan
Mr.
change,
Gannon?
sorry.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
We hope to see you on the 10th of November. That's the goal, to have the dedication and to give it to the town. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Bobby. Be
Done by
well.
November 10th?
November 10th. Yes. Thank
Move
you.
fast.
Fast.
He's got the army coming.
All set.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. Up next, contract approval for services with CEI engineers. Ms. Kleiner.
So, this is, CEI is an agency that we've done a lot of work with in the past. They are the, group that won the bid for the stormwater asset management, project that we're working on. We asked them to put forth, an agreement. This one is $13,000. The money is in the highway general, operating budget under contractor services. We needed help with 3 items. And so you'll see the contract there speaks to those items. I've also had a conversation with Michael Croto from the planning board, as that first task, the regulatory review, will actually entail them going through all of our ordinances and making sure that we are in compliance for the stormwater and the MS4, and then they will deliver a report to the planning board and give us a list of if there are any of tasks that we need to carry forward. So the road agent and I thought this was a little out of our wheelhouse, and that would be much better having CEI assist us with it. So it's that, there's some green infrastructure regulatory, again, it's a regulatory evaluation. And then the task 3 was the phosphorus impaired waters report. They're going to assist us with that. We have gotten a lot of data from UNH and from the Stormwater Coalition, but CEI sits on that coalition with me. And then a little bit of the annual report, which I have to admit was my first time last year putting that together. So Nick from CEI is going to walk me through that and just give it a review before we send it into the EPA. So it's $13,000. As I said, the money is available in that contracting line. We did count on this. The road agent and I had talked about it pretty much since last spring, but we wanted to get your approval.
Does anybody have any questions, or? Yep.
So task 1, are they going to go through all the ordinances and look for that? So the planning board isn't going to do that, they're going to do that.
Right,
So
they'll
look at
do an independent review, but they will come and speak. He generally comes and speaks to the planning board.
Yeah.
He'll work with both myself, with Joan, with Kevin, Jeff.
Will this be warrant article changes, or are they mandatory? Or we can decide that later?
Well, I think let me put it this way. He's going to give us a list, and it's going to be up to the planning board in the town on if we want to take these things forward. So could it? It could result in items that we feel we have to take forward for a warrant article. It could be that everything's in compliance. There's a couple items that, especially with the green infrastructure, that are much more detailed than what we have. So I would tend to think that there are some items there that we might have to bring forward if the town feels that they want to adopt them.
Is there a timeline with this? Is it for this year's warrant article, or would it be the following year?
So he is ready to start tomorrow.
Wow.
This would be immediate.
Oh,
Yes,
there's
so
one.
we are looking for, within 60 days, having this information back.
Okay.
So he's on a tight timeline.
I just noticed Michael in the audience.
On task number 3,
Thank you.
initial phosphorus impaired waters report, and it looks like it's focused on Dara Pond. I mean, reading it initially, it looks like Dara Pond doesn't have a lot of runoff from stormwater. What are they gonna do here? Are they gonna dig in deeper to give us maybe an overall health quality of the pond?
So the work that UNH has done, and there's quite a bit of work out there already they've outlined 10 areas within the town that they believe that should be investigated. The top of the list was the transfer station, which would not surprise me.
Yeah.
So they will take that data and they will analyze it, do some initial testing of their own, and then give us some recommendations according to that testing.
Okay, because I know there's a lot of talk going on again about Darrah Pond. What should we do with it? Should we invest the money into it? Should we clean it up? And this would be really the first step in telling us, are we going to just be throwing money at the pond if it's just taking runoff from roads?
And so our road agent he went last year. Last year was his first year that he attended the SALT symposium. We're really trying, part of this is getting him certified. So he has another session in September on the SALT. We're really working with the Stormwater Coalition on different types of education. So if you've noticed, you've probably seen the same flyers over and over and over. So the coalition's working very hard to get new educational materials. And then after, so there is further down in my report, I'm gonna talk about the stormwater asset management, and there's a stakeholder meeting in October. That'll be bringing everyone together so that we can talk about how the asset management program, how it can help them, right? So how can this data that we're keeping and we're updating, and we'll have the condition of all of our assets, how can this help the various boards and commissions and stakeholders? We want to also start more education for residents and have different speakers come in and do some sort of kind of like series of lectures and classes. And the coalition is all about helping with that. So it's better, I think it's, if you can get people into the room, it's better than a flyer in the town report and flyers stuck to a trash can on Albuquerque. So that's what we're working towards.
Anybody have any other questions?
Nope.
All right, so we can entertain a motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with CEI Comprehensive Environmental Incorporated for the MS4 work as outlined in their document dated August 2nd of 2023. This item is going to be funded in the Highway Department General Operating Budget, account 01-4312.10-380, Contractor Services.
We have a motion from Mr. Weber,
I'll second it.
second from Mr. Gannon. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Right. Up next, we have the contract with Markham/Melanson for the 23 to 25 financial audits.
So this is a budget item that we needed in order to prepare the 2024 budget. The proposed 2023, that's audit year. So for the 2023 audit year, which would be in next year's 2024 budget, the contract comes in at $30,000 in relation to 27 that was paid this past year. So that's a $3,000 increase, roughly 11%. In addition, if we need a audit of a federal program, ARPA, that'll be an additional $5,000, and we do expect that we will for next year. It's an increase, but you don't want to walk into an audit year with a federal program with someone that you don't have a long-standing relationship with and that doesn't know the town and the town systems. And so, you know, that's part of this. There hasn't been, I do have a spreadsheet there for you to review. If you look over the past few years, I mean, it's been much smaller increases, but I felt I needed to tell you that over the next 3 years, this is a 20%.
Well, we had a big increase in 2020.
You did, and there was also in 2019, when they stopped doing the OPEB, and you had to go and hire Milliman to do it, so, I mean, that transferred a cost to another vendor. But, in relation, these are what you're seeing in the market. They're expensive services, and they do entail a significant amount of time.
And they've done a great job for us. I mean, Karen, you continue to be happy with them.
Yeah.
So from a budget standpoint, are we gonna put the extra 5,000 in there, in the budget line? All right, makes sense.
We'd increase it to 35.
Yeah.
2024.
Is there any, sorry.
What's that?
Is there any thought of looking at if somebody else could do this after the audits are done? Are we paying for a name here, or? I know we're paying because they know our systems.
And they're, in the New Hampshire, they are probably one of the best known. They have a significant amount of experience with municipal, and I would say that field is somewhat limited.
And Melanson got bought out, 2 years ago?
Last year, by Marcos.
Was it last year?
Now, yeah. So you think they're worth staying with?
I think if you were going to even entertain it, you'd want to put out an RFP, and, I mean, you can do that towards the end of this contract, just to see if you're staying within market, if the cost is reasonable. But you are paying for experience here. They have significant experience in the municipal.
And the ARPA one is for 2-year audit? How long is the ARPA one gonna be there for? That was $5,000 for 1 year,
It's a single audit because we spent over $750,000 in federal
and
money.
that goes away next year, the 5,000? We just paid
Yeah.
3,000 more?
Right, because you wouldn't spend any more federal money this year. It'd be nice to have that one.
Yeah,
money
but
to-
would it go away? No, because we have OPEB next year too.
Yeah, what?
So, the OPEB is every 2 years. The OPEB audit is
Okay.
every 2 years.
So that's the
It came off
It's
$30,000.
still
this
there
year.
another year.
Yeah.
That's the 3,000.
Yeah.
Well, the
The
3,000 I
3,200.
understand stays. It's more the ARPA, but, okay, but we need it for it's almost like 2 audits we need it for, right?
Well, so,
Oh.
Maybe
so
I'm
it would have,
misunderstanding
if we had to pay the OPEB every year,
Yeah.
it would have gone up to 33 if we didn't have the single audit. So now it will go up to 35. OPEB, I'm sure, is gonna go up next year, so that one's every 2 years that we pay for it.
So if you break it down from an average over the last 7 years, it's gone up 7% a year. Because we've gone up 48% from 2017 to what the proposal is now, so it's about 7%.
It never hurts to put out an RFP and test the market. And I do know of some towns that have done it for this past year. But there are limited firms that will do municipal auditing.
What does everybody think?
7% increase each year, writing their own check.
I mean, they've done such a great job for us over the years. I think we have to continue with them this year, for this budget season.
It's for the audit, yeah, but maybe revisit it next year for sure. Changing horses is not good in the middle of an audit.
Well, you'd be in a 3-year contract, so,
This is, today's for the 3-year.
yeah, this is a 3-year contract, so.
The 20% gone, 21?
So if you, wanted to do an RFP, you could start in the, early year 2 and.
So
get
if
it
you look
out
from
there.
2023 to 2025, it's gonna go up $3,000.
That's nothing. I mean, it's something, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Gotta raise my rates.
I mean, my opinion would be to stay with this for now, and then if the board wants down the road to do an RFP, we can do that as well. We can always do that down the road. But I think $3,000 over 3 years really isn't that bad. It's just a couple of big jumps they had. 2020 was the big one.
Yep.
Yeah, you really don't want to enter the federal audit.
With somebody we don't know.
Right.
Doesn't know us, yeah.
It would be a significant amount of time, and for them.
Okay. Very good? Okay.
Good.
We'll entertain a motion to approve the contract, right?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal contract for Markham Melanson for 2023 to 2025 financial audits.
Motion for Mr. Weber,
Second.
second for Ms. Queen. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. Up next, we have a property tax abatement.
So, in your folder, you saw a letter from, our assessor, Avatar, recommending an abatement on map 15, lot 24,
34?
2-4.
24, I'm sorry.
My computer says 3-4.
67 Natticook, did I?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the
This-
house that burned?
Yes.
This is due to a fire.
Yep.
So we need you to approve on recommendation of our assessors an abatement in the amount of $2,194 for the 2023 tax year.
I'll make a motion to approve an abatement on property at 67 Natticook Road, map 15, lot 24, in the amount of $2,194 for the 2023 tax year.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon,
Second.
second from Mr. Weber. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. Thank you. All right, up next, budget.
And the fun begins.
Budget. And here we are.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure if you wanted to take it in order, or if you wanted to address the chairs that are here first so that they can,
let's do the ones that are here,
okay.
so they don't have to sit around. And we know this is exciting, must-see TV, but I'm sure you have laundry to do or something.
So that would be planning, conservation, recreation.
All right, first one to the chair gets it. We'll all jump at
Everyone's
once.
rushing.
Run, Peter, run.
Take a look around.
There you go.
Trip them.
Why not?
Why not?
Go in the order that,
How we doing,
the
man?
agenda. I'm well. How are you,
Good.
Mr. Chairman? Members of the board? So, good evening. Not much to report on the planning board. I just thought I would come in. I know that, obviously the budget season is upon us. And I didn't know if there was any questions that the board had. So, and I'm also here for support for Kim, so. That's it.
Does Kim need support?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. We should ask her.
I hope not, but I never know. So,
$6,000 increase, is that right?
6,500, yeah.
yes, so
Some of it's contractual, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
some of it is, but here's where, I think we are, we've been looking at this, basically, as a leadership team, we need, more hours in the planning staff, the in-house planning staff, to answer questions, yes, both questions for questions for Jeff, questions for Lou, questions for Mr. Croto. There's been a lot that arises during the day, where we really need that planning professional. So what we're proposing, is that we up the hours, for this position. It's been averaging 12 to 13 hours a week. There's a lot of opportunity out there to network with different professionals, be it, seminars, classes at NRPC, be it at the state, the BEA, and you just can't do any of that if you're only working 12 hours a week. That's very difficult to do. And we think that there's some information that the planning board and the professionals may benefit from. So that's really most of 4,500 of the increase in the department is that, and then there's a $2,000 increase in the NRPC's contracts.
How close are we to needing a full-time planner?
In my opinion, very close.
That's what I would think too. I mean, we're fortunate to have Jay at NRPC helping us.
Yes. And the lens that a planner, a real full-time planner gives is much more than just processing of plans and setting of agendas, and that's the work that's getting done now and getting done very well. You need to be able to understand and attend these workshops so that you understand what the flow is in the community around you. And that takes time, right? That takes a significant amount of time. So every week I sit on a call, and I try to share the information as much as I can. I know there's been a significant amount of time that Jeff has assisted with planning. We could also use a little bit more help with the zoning side of it, especially as the building permits pick up and inspections pick up. It becomes very difficult. And we've tried to do all hands on deck, but I think you're very close.
That's what I thought.
So this person would do the circuit writing that Jay Mankara does, take some of that from him, or no?
No, I wouldn't propose they do. I think that, so NRPC has a very special niche, and they're a wealth of information. They have some technical expertise that you don't have in staff right now. And I'm not going to pretend that planning is my expertise, because it is not. I think that may be even more reason why we need a full-time planner. We're really, Mr. Blackwell and I are really looking to that position to give us some direction. And 3 days a week, that there is no position. So we are relying on Jay,
We went to a full-time person, which is
Mr. Mankara.
Jay.
Probably not for those day-to-day questions, right?
But you still
Because
want
we'd
someone.
have someone right here, but we'd still rely on him for other things, and I think I'll let Mr. Croto speak to how much the board relies on him.
Yeah, I mean, Jay is, certainly, I mean, his, their staff is, stretched as well, and I think, I mean, Jay is just a wealth of knowledge. NRPC, I think they do a great job of covering all the bases. And, in terms of the regulations, in terms of knowing the procedures, how to go about, conducting, the meetings and all that stuff. They are a great resource. And without them, I think, we'd be, we'd be lost. But I also think too, having a town planner, it's really a matter of resources. And as this town has grown and will continue to grow, I suspect, plus with the development that we're seeing, I think it's going to have to, at some point, I think it's going to have to be considered. But right now, we have NRPC, they are here, they are a resource, but having someone actually here, during the week, to actually address those issues, that's important too. Because there's a lot of questions that come up, there's a lot of things, and I know Kim gets a lot of that stuff, fielded to her, and she has to, talk to Joan and, but it's an important task, and it has to be recognized that, town administrator can't do everything. She's got to be devoted to you guys, she's got to be devoted to other things, and so planning, it really becomes an entity of its own at the end of the day, so. But that, I think it's important.
So if we had a full-time planner, how many hours could we take away from NRPC?
That's my
Because
question.
right now, we're allocating 20 hours per month, right? So if we could cut them down to 5 hours, we could take 3/4 of the money that's allocated and move it back into a full-time, and we get closer to funding a full-time position without really impacting the overall budget too greatly.
Right.
That was my question. Are we gonna keep Jay a little bit and have,
Well, I think
or are we only
that's,
going 3 hours a week? I don't know what the plan is here.
So I think you'll see that there's 20 hours, and I've been watching this, a month. Traditionally, I don't think he has, used all the hours within his
he's been very
contract.
generous.
He
to
does
us.
a lot of stuff that doesn't
I
get
have
billed
to
for.
say, that is one thing about Jay. He has been
And
extremely.
Any email sent to him, he quickly responds
Yeah.
to it, gives you
Yeah, he
detailed
does.
information.
And he'll talk to you,
Anytime you
call
need him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good guy.
Yeah, so even at this moment, and they do tend to bill later, so, I'm sure there's some bills that haven't been sent in. There's still 70% left in that line,
Yeah.
currently. But having him at the meetings, that's, you could say that's 6 hours a month right there.
Mhm.
3 hours meeting, considering time to and from. So I'd be a little, weary of cutting any of the hours on that.
I guess it's gonna be a matter of figuring out how you're gonna do that in terms of having a planner and having Jay. It is a unique situation. We've had an RPC for a long time. They've, done most of it. How do you allocate this and this? So it's gonna be an interesting process to see how that works.
And I think we have some things here that need to be addressed as far as archiving of records, where the records are kept. There's certain times when there are needs that Jeff and I are basically waiting until the next time that we see Joan. So I only raised the hours thinking if we could get another day that someone's on site, and see where it goes and progress from there, you could make that adjustment.
So how many hours a week are you thinking it should be?
20.
20.
On average, it's 12
Because she's doing
now.
12 to 15, you said?
So out of the two, between the planner you got now and NRPC, it would be a full-time, it would be 40 hours.
That's what you're
right?
talking about full-time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And right now, we're getting 12, 13.
And right now, it's funded at what, $45,000? I don't think we'll get a full-time planner for $45,000. So it's
No.
probably the best way at this point to go and
I
attack
doubt
it.
it very much, but
Yeah.
yes.
But in the future, we may want to look at a warrant article to bring in a full-time planner.
Yeah, and we can't go from 12 hours to 40.
No, I think we have to take steps, and at $45,000 a year, there's no way we're gonna get a full-time person. So it's probably the best way from a budget standpoint to accomplish what we need.
Right.
But I will say, again, I will say NRPC does a great job. They're
Yeah,
a great
fantastic.
asset. They've served this town very well, so.
We appreciate the quick response.
Yes,
It's
we do.
very quick.
He's very
Jay's
quick.
great.
He is very
Jay
quick.
is very, very good.
So that's the only changes, really there that we've made. Everything else, we've pretty much kept flat. You know, there's been no mileage or seminar money used in this budget. But again, we hope with the increase in hours on the town staff that that money would be used in 2024, so we left it.
Very good.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for allowing us to discuss this. Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Michael, take care.
All right, you guys have a great evening.
You too. Up next, heading up, bye, take care.
Bye.
Good luck with the project. Hello, Mr. Ames.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members.
How are you?
No complaints.
No complaints? Great. There you go.
So Peter Ames, 21 Moose Hollow Road, and Chair of the Recreation Commission. So thank you for the opportunity to come in here to speak to our budget tonight. Just overall, I just want to give you kind of a flavor for our budget and what our priorities are. As you can see, about 2/3 of our budget is for the field maintenance. So that is our contracted services taking care of all of our playing fields within the town, and that is, of course, our top priority. The other items that are listed throughout here, some of which are pretty fixed to keep talent open, propane, electricity, that type of thing, and other services that are really built there to allow us to keep our facilities open. And what you don't see in here are really any dedicated funds for ongoing maintenance. And that is something to be aware of. I certainly want to acknowledge the road agent and many volunteers who help take care of a lot of our properties just by their own initiative and goodwill to help clean things up, do simple repairs, mow some things that are overgrown. That really helps keep us in a good spot, but we do not have many dedicated funds for ongoing maintenance, so that's a vulnerability for our properties. And our goal during the course of the year really is we want to keep things safe and open, and that's what we, will fund during the course of the year. Is when things come up, we will address them to keep things open. That's what we want more than anything. But we do not have funds in here really to be very proactive in ongoing maintenance before they get to a situation where we have to deal with them. So the increases here, I do want to speak to. The field maintenance goes up a little bit because we've got a little bit more property that we are adding into that contract, particularly the pickleball courts and the area around those. The building repairs and maintenance line. So this one was increased at town meeting or the deliberative session. Yep. Thank you. So it's the 12.5 is actually even compared to what we have in there this year. That is our best kind of safety valve. So that if something happens, we'd have funds to address it. But that we do believe want to keep at that level going forward. We've added a little bit into trash and toilet because we've got additional pieces there. And the other ones that have gone up a little bit, again, are just to give us a bit of flexibility to address problems that come up because we have had that experience in the past. We did talk as a commission about, what happens if we had a reduction in funds or what would be our options. And again, with the lens of keeping things open is our top priority. The other place that we could potentially look to is implementing a more aggressive fee schedule so that folks that use the facilities would be charged a fee. We do have a fee policy in place. It's really aimed at like for-profit organizations that are, monetizing in some way off of an event. But it's certainly our preference not to charge fee to nonprofits, certainly the rec leagues, or anything of that nature, because we want to keep it as accessible as possible. We would, reasonably expect they would probably pass those along to their participants, and that's not something that we want, because that also is an access issue, particularly for youth in the town. But it is an option that we would look to if we needed to keep things open. So let me pause there and be happy to take any questions.
So if the fees that you may charge, are you talking about like out-of-town groups that come in to use the facilities, or?
Yeah, we do have a hierarchy of field use, which we most often use for prioritizing. If there's ever a direct conflict, it would first go to like town organizations, so schools, fire, or anything like that. Then the rec leagues themselves, then other nonprofits that are Litchfield based, then nonprofits that are outside of town. So the further you get down that list, the more likely that we would implement a fee. So if you had a out of town for-profit organization that came in to do an event, which may be a good thing for the town for sure, because it gives folks an opportunity, but we'd want to make sure there was a contribution in that type of scenario. But we could always change that fee schedule to charge rec leagues, nonprofits for their use.
Yeah, I'd hate to see charging the people in the town. I mean, you guys worked out a really good deal with that Fusion, was it?
Yep.
For the fences? And they gave you fences for the fields?
Yep.
To use them.
They
in.
partnered back.
Things like that is just, that's the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's been a great partnership, and all the leagues, both in town and out of town, are very respectful of our properties. They usually leave it in better shape, so certainly something we want to encourage.
Yeah. Yeah, it helps you improve them too.
That's right.
And those fences are pretty nice. We went up there for a couple of the games.
Yeah.
They're pretty nice. So, very good.
And the fields look amazing.
They do.
They are in great shape,
They're
like the
doing
best in
awesome
years
job.
and years, yeah.
Now we need to steal Mr. Lavish, get him on the tractor for the wreck.
That's why I threw it out there, asking if he wanted to join us. Cut for one, you
You
can cut
have
for the
a
other.
brother.
Very good.
This is being a rec chair for a couple of years, this is a tough budget because, as Peter said, most of the money is in field maintenance. And the other is, we don't have much of a budget to carry, they don't have much of a budget to carry. What happens if something goes wrong? If we need a new roof, if the septic, you could probably pump the septic, I don't think it's been done in a long time, if that fails. So something that's also been kicked around is, what is the fund called?
Expendable
Expendable
trust,
Trust Fund. And I
which would
think
make
if-
sense.
Yeah, if we could put it on the ballot to get an expendable trust fund for recreation, I think they'd be able to manage the budget even closer, because then they'll have that, rainy day fund just in case something happens. And the concern is you carry it in your rec budget, and at the end of the year, if you don't use it, it's gonna go back or get pulled, and the budget committee is definitely gonna pull it out. But then what do you do next year? You fight to put it back in, and you hope you don't have any problems.
Yeah, we've talked about bringing a warrant article forward for rec for that this year. Because we gotta do something, because eventually talent's gonna break.
Yeah, talent is just, it wouldn't surprise me if tomorrow something major happened, right? It's like the little engine that could, it gets a lot of use, particularly in the cold weather months.
Yeah.
So that would be a shame, but we are definitely exposed to something major happening at talent and us being in a real jam.
Because we're coming up in the months, it's gonna be used from 7 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, almost every single day.
7 days a week.
And I don't think any action's been taken on that plumbing,
It is
or
not.
the plumbing quotes that we received, but, I know again, so we have a new contractor for janitorial services, and he mentioned again the fact that there's nowhere to fill a mop bucket
No mop
and,
bucket.
those type of things, so
There
it's
was a
hard to keep.
spigot outside.
Until it freezes.
Correct. Which will happen.
I think it's a great, you'll notice we lowered, so I have to thank, Heather, that works for Karen. She's been tracking all of the utilities. So we have real life data, we're tracking it year after year after year. And we looked very closely at the electricity here and felt really confident that we could lower this, giving them some room to use it in other places. So, especially considering that it's probably not being used as much. It was being used every single day, but with the new pickleball courts,
Moved outside.
you have that group outside. So we feel pretty confident, and of course, if there's any problems, we can adjust.
Kim? Anything?
No, it's a great budget.
I think it's a pretty tight budget.
Water still kills me.
You've never figured out why either.
No.
All of a sudden we get that big jump.
Something freezes, I
Underneath
think,
the
right?
stage?
We might have a pool.
Mr. Gannon even brought a bucket in and did the rate of filling the bucket to see if the meter was wrong or not.
Fills a bucket fast, but it was accurate.
There's none underneath that center stage, is
I
there?
don't know.
No,
That's
we've
why I
act-
said we may have a pool under there.
I think the gentleman from Smith Plumbing actually has been underneath there.
Ooh.
He still recommends taking the piping out.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
that was something we discussed as well when I was on the rec, is getting rid of everything on the left-hand side. Get rid of that kitchen sink and all that stuff. That's why I also mentioned putting a water heater on the right side.
Yep.
Then you don't have to, right now, there's a water pipe under the stage that has electrical tape, and if that breaks, who knows? You know, the electrical tape keeps it from freezing in the winter. So if we can move it all to one side, that I think would be a huge savings. And if there's a way where if they could shut off the water and then drain everything, because a couple of years ago, we lost heat at Talent,
Yes.
or
Yep.
Talent, and then we ended up cracking pipes. If we were able to shut off the water and then drain the system, that would have been very nice to have.
You can't do it now, though, because you use it.
Well, it's starting back up, yeah. But this would be like in case of an emergency, or even during the summer when it's not being used, just shut it and drain
The
it.
water meter even cracked that time.
Yes, yes. We should have stayed with the cracked water meter.
Yes, worked better. That new one, as soon as it came in.
We found out at town hall what it's like to have a water heater go.
Good. All right. No, I think it's a good budget. I don't see any areas that we can cut it.
And I don't know if you guys watched their meeting the other day when Ryan came in, from Natticook Landscaping. He was holding to his proposed quote from last year, and he was gonna carry forward, and the only changes is the added fields or added cutting that, the rec put in.
Yep, Natticook has done very well by us this year, and the quality of the service has been exceptional.
Ryan's
They do a
always done good
fantastic job.
Hasn't got to test that new well yet.
That's what
Not this year.
Very good. Anything else? I
Nope.
think we're good. Thank you. Thanks
very
for
much.
coming in.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Peter.
Okay. You wanna come up? Up next, we have conservation. Find that. There it is. 4611 for you folks at home. Point 20.
Good evening, Board. Jason Brennan, Aldrich Street, Chairman of the Conservation Commission. If you're looking, just to give you a high-level overview, if you're looking at our budget, it's basically broken down into 4 primary things. Number 1 is property management. Number 2 is mandatory dues that we have to pay and licensing. Number 3, we do have a line item for reports, which I'll talk about in a minute. And number 4 relates to programs. That's primarily the fishing derby. This year, we have increased our budget in 2 areas. Area number 1 is property management and maintenance. We're requesting a increase from a whopping $300 a year to $1,000. And then area number 2 is we put in a line item for a Dara Pond study for $2,000, and that is to assess the milfoil at Dara Pond so that we can put a plan together to figure out what we want to do there. We did have a couple of conversations with the Recreation Commission over the past year, and I think the consensus is that we want to make sure that we try to save that pond and not let it go to a tadpole, swampy type of area. So we've got to wrap our arms around that, and that's the first piece of the puzzle is right here. Overall, if you look at our budget at the other line items in the budget, they're pretty much the same. I think we upped a couple things, $25 here and there. But the two major things are the plus $700 on the maintenance line, and then the $2,000 for the Dara Pond study.
Putting on my budget committee hat, I think the $2,000 is safe, but the $699 may not be. Because there are arguments that you faced every year.
I'm going to
Oh, I
push back
support
on
it.
that this year.
Even though I support it, it's,
I'm going to do my best to push back on that this year, Mr. Chair. I'd contend that you have capital reserve funds, you have other departments that have, you just mentioned it a minute ago, Steve, your
expendable.
revolving funds. You shouldn't be paying maintenance items out of these type of funds. That conservation fund is really intended for a couple of key things. Number one is the purchase of land. That's what that fund is intended to do. Our commission has discussed this at length. The hope is that we're able to use that fund to either purchase land or for major capital related type of items, like the tractor, or if we need a shed, or if we need a bigger piece of equipment, we're fine with that. As far as spending those funds on maintenance items, it's just something that the commission doesn't want to do. And we end up paying for it ourselves. Like, I've actually paid out of my own pocket money to maintain town equipment. If you take a look here, it's kind of interesting. We put in a maintenance management system last year with the Rec Commission. There's 19 pages since last fall of maintenance items that have been completed. 115 total. Probably over 1,000 hours of volunteer time. And so all we're asking for is just to cover some of the stuff that we're paying for. Gas, things like that. We're paying it. A lot of it's being paid out of pocket. So I'm going to try to fight that battle this year. We'll see what happens.
Nobody's got proof right there. Right?
Yeah.
Is that considered a donation? I mean, okay.
Not all
I don't
of
want
it.
him in trouble, you know? So, no, I mean, he has proof.
Yeah, not all of it, but it's pretty good. We've been using this every single time. We've got QR codes set up at all the sites. Anytime Rec or Conservation does any maintenance, we swipe the QR code. That's logged into here. Hours, time, what was done, who did it.
I don't have a problem with it.
To go along with that too, with the tractor, I've been performing the maintenance, and I've contacted Chapel Tractor to make sure if we do our own maintenance, is the warranty covered for 3 years? And he says, yes, absolutely, as long as you track what you did and it's according to the book, so the oil changes, and I bought the equipment from Chapel. The first one was just a 50-hour, and that was mainly oil and fluids and check the filters, change the filters. The next one's at 200, and if we bring it to Chapel, it's probably going to be about $1,400. But if we do it ourselves, it's much, much cheaper. But where does that money come from? It's going to pull from the conservation land money, or is there a budget item? I agree with Jay. There should be some kind of management line item so we could track it and we know how much it's costing without getting kind of caught up into the weeds.
I think it's a good budget.
It's the cheapest budget.
You can't, Mr. Chair, you can't say that to all the budgets. Then you're going to hand this over to the Budget Committee. And And they're gonna say, no, it's not a good budget.
You'll say that anyways.
Warrant articles, so we don't believe we have any warrant articles coming forth this year, but at some point in time, the Dara Pond thing, we need to look at. I think we considered last year to make that a warrant article. We do have a price from a firm to do the treatment, but the price is a couple of years old now. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but like the first treatment was like 7,000 or 12,000 for year one, and it was like 6,000 for year two, 6,000 for year three. I don't know if you have to do that in perpetuity, but if we did end up going for a warrant article, it might look something like that. And that would be to treat the milfoil around the edge of the
Yeah, and
pond.
the reason that got pulled that time is because we didn't know what the ongoing cost was gonna be for it.
Yeah,
And we
agreed.
also didn't know what Conservation Rec ever wanted to do with the pond, so that year, the selectmen did pull that warrant article.
We weren't quite on the same page at that point in time.
I don't think it'll ever be swimmable. I wouldn't swim in it, but if you can get it, why not?
I would love it to be swimmable again.
I don't know.
All you gotta do is chlorinate it. That's what they used to do.
Just so,
They
This day and age, you cannot do that.
Milfoil.
The milfoil, it's-
That's just a weed.
didn't hurt, didn't hurt.
it'll
the
take.
Is there a spring under that
Fish there,
thing?
Here,
turtles.
chlorinate without a
It's a spring.
filtration
It'll
system.
take some years.
I mean, we swim in it.
there are people that swim in it for right now.
Yes.
There are people
There's
that
a
swim
woman
in
that
it
goes
right
down there every day and swims.
Really?
Brings a rake, cleans up a bunch of it,
Really?
yeah, swims every single morning.
Well, when you have the engineering firm take a look at TMDLs or whatever they're looking at, phosphorus and stuff
Yep.
like that, maybe have them dip that cup and put it in a couple other test kits and see what's going on there, for
Well,
real.
and I know that Michael, from the mosquito has been down and they've been taking samples, and so I believe he was touching base with Joan on some things, but, so far, all of our samples look very good. I don't know if you caught that over the bridge, they had a sample that came back with Jameson. Is that what it is? Jameson.
James,
Vial.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Canyon, Jamestown, Cameron virus, something,
yeah,
okay.
that's something like that. So
That's not
we
good.
got noticed. As long as they stay on that side of the river. Well, I don't know. What am I saying? I live on that side of the river. I don't go out though.
2 kids were caught fish over there a couple of weeks ago. So the kids are still using their fishing poles over there.
Oh,
They're not cooking it, right?
Well, yeah.
You know,
They're having fun. They're having
you can
fun.
clean it,
Once
it's
away
so
across that pond, you can stand in the water.
Well,
It's
maybe
about
we'll have a
waist high.
warrant article, we get a
Really?
big dock, and we put the dock out about 100 feet. Rope swing, one of those big launcher things where you can jump off the high platform and then go into the
One of
trampoline
those
and do the
bouncy,
backflips.
yeah.
Coming in 2026.
They used to have a great dock system there. They had a great dock system. Start at the top of the hill and run as fast as you could, all the way down and off the end.
Hopefully someday,
Yeah, it'd be
can
nice.
use it to some extent.
Swim at your own risk.
That's all I have, let's,
That's,
okay.
Well, while Mr. Brennan's here, and I'm sorry Mr. Ames left, I've talked to him a little bit. I've also been talking to cemeteries, and so that's a budget that's in front of us tonight. And it came up at CIP the other night, about how can we create some efficiencies and start to control some costs. So within the cemetery, you'll notice the highest item that's jumping up the most is the maintenance, right? That same maintenance is also in the library budget. It's an outside contractor. So the conversation started to develop around how could we, and I know this is a taboo subject, but add an employee to the highway department but have this employee's day tasked with being maybe that person that can research those recreation items that we spoke about a few meetings ago. So have that person dedicated to that, have the person dedicated to some of this maintenance, which is just seasonal, really. And maybe incorporate a bunch of expense into offsetting the salary. So it's an item we're working on. The cemetery trustees did ask me to put out an RFP. I drafted it and they're reviewing it for the maintenance. But I don't think you're gonna get anything come in cheaper. I honestly don't.
No.
So I think looking at alternatives and bringing it in-house, but also being able to use that employee to assist rec, to maybe assist conservation. You know, let's really make the job description something that handles a lot of different areas where we're lacking. So we're gonna work on it some more. You know, we'll maybe some feedback and get some feedback from Mr. Ames. I've talked to the road agent at length about this. The road agent did go over with his group and do a bunch of work at the cemeteries with the bittersweet and cutting it all back because their contractor just doesn't include that. And so now the conversation came up at SIP the other night, well, could we look at incorporating maybe the libraries too? So we're gonna try to piece something together. Maybe we come up with a warrant article out of it, and maybe we figure out how to handle some areas that everyone needs.
I mean, it makes sense. You gotta think, we have, what, 2.5 people that take care of 144 lane miles. On top of that, are out taking care of all the needs of rec and everybody else who calls.
Right.
I mean, we need more people. You know, they're generous enough, the townspeople, to keep giving us more and more equipment, but we have nobody to go into that equipment. And we really, the highway department really needs more personnel. And if we can start using them to help out cemeteries, help out rec, you know, make it more of a utility
Right.
function.
A cough drop.
Right, and so, I mean, there's always been that issue of, and we've talked about this, of, you know, not, commissions and boards can't talk by email outside of meetings, and I think rec did a perfect job the other night, so they've given the chair the ability to make those initial decisions and bring them back to perfect. But if there was a person in the highway that they could call, you know, the chair could call and say, hey, can you go check out this item that just came in? Tell us how much it would be. He can work with us. We might have contracts with some of these supply vendors within the highway department, which would get it cheaper. I mean, I really think there's more that we can do to kind of bring it full circle, right? And have greater collaboration between the.
I'll give you an uninteresting data point. So for our $1,000 in maintenance, if we didn't have volunteers, one of two things would happen. The stuff would get overgrown again. It would be an unmanaged mess like it was 5 years ago. Or number two, you'd have to go out and you'd have to contract for it. I got a price to mow the community garden one time, for each mow, $400 a mow. You want to mow Moore's Falls, it's going to be about $500 per mow. If we were to contract this stuff out, it would probably be $12,000 to $15,000 a year. We do about 12 to 14 mows a year. Extract all that out, you know, we're doing it for $1,000 with volunteers. If there's no volunteers, and that's gonna cost $15,000, you're just gonna let it grow wild again. You bring someone on board, you know, we have some fallback, which would be really nice. The highway department does maintain a good chunk of the muster field across the street, which is greatly appreciated. but sometimes in a pinch, we can use some help, and I think it's a good idea.
Why is everybody looking at me?
We're just watching the look
We'll
on
come
your
up
face.
with numbers.
But it is unfortunate, they're
Bob likes
paying a lot
numbers.
of this out of their own time and money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And liability if there's something, went wrong. I don't want you hurt, I'm just saying, why should they be paying that? It's keeping the town looking nice and functional and safe.
Nobody told me I had to bring my own gas.
But it's,
Rex looking better and better, isn't it?
That's a cone of silence.
Jason will pay for it for you, don't worry.
but he brings up a point. What happens if he moves out of town?
But you,
Go nowhere.
I know he's not, but I'm just saying, he's on vacation for a year.
It's not only me, we got a good crew now at the Conservation Commission that a lot of us are out there on
But you're
a
gonna keep it
weekly
going, or
basis.
it's gonna burn out.
Yeah.
again.
Right.
Like Kevin used to mow the muster fields for the longest time. McQuestions did it before that, and but you need to keep this up and running. And then there's like the contract for the rec mowing. We broke it out a couple of years ago, and there's a section that I'm sure Natticook would be happy to give up, as long as it doesn't interfere with his stuff, and that could be added to part of the town mowing or
Right.
The river access,
river
I
access.
the pickleball courts.
Courts, yep.
I mean, I really think we could piece together a really nice job description and set of responsibilities. And with the money we'd be saving from the cemetery line and the library line, you're probably gonna get half the salary right there, at least. So, I mean,
And they're not treating the grass, so they don't need a special license, they're just cutting the grass.
Just cutting.
just cutting.
Have we not been happy with the guy that's mowing?
No, it's not that. It's just the cost of it and the
He just
fact that
does
there are
not.
some things that he does not do, right? So the highway department's still down there.
Yep.
And needs to go down, and that's important work, cause those stones were in danger. So. I think we're just trying to find a way where we can alleviate some of the pressure on the boards and the commissions that do so much, and we've tried to figure out, and we just don't have it with the 2 staff members and the road agent that we have now. Just.
We're grossly understaffed in highway. I've been saying it for years.
Oh, way under.
Yeah,
I would
oh
agree.
yeah.
All right, I guess we'll have to see how the numbers work out or
I
fit.
don't think the public knows what they do.
I don't think they do either.
Nobody, and that's why the work orders that you wanted to start implementing, you and the road
Right.
agent, would have been
What he
perfect, because
showed
we're
is, that was
capturing.
the start of the work order. That's the same exact thing, he worked with John to get created. It could be, you dump it from a database and you get all the records of what
Because
happened.
then you have data points to point back at and
Right,
say, this
that's
is
why
why
it's
we
so
need more
important.
people.
Yep.
But, I think they have no idea. I mean, highways all over the place all the time. Saturday night, there was on Page Road some brush that we've had complaints that people can't see. It's become too overgrown. So we had a contractor come in and start to clear it out. And then there were some calls that apparently people thought it was dangerous, that there was a contractor there clearing. So the road agent was down there with flagging for 8 hours. Yeah. I mean, you call, they go.
It is true. Whenever you need him, he'll show up.
He doesn't know the word no.
No, he does not.
He'll tell you I do, though.
Other news, the fire station siding might be going up in a couple of weeks. So, Mr. Chair, you need to get up there and take down that big ugly antenna.
Would you like me to do that?
I got a socket wrench and a couple of ropes.
I got a Sawzall. and a roof
You have a
ladder.
lift?
I have a lift.
When you're driving by, take a look at it.
I'll go take a peek.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
See you, Jason.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thanks for all you do and all you're about to do.
Yep. Yep.
Come next Tuesday to rec.
All right. What do you have next for us?
Zoning?
Cemeteries?
We did cemeteries. We did mosquito district. So I did tell you, in the memo that I sent at the beginning of all this, and some of these numbers are changing now, we did get a new contract with the mosquito district, and it's gone up, about 3%. That's all that is in that line item.
$8.55?
$855, yeah.
Okay.
That's all there is there. And then we can go over to general government. That's our
Number?
last one,
Do you
I
mind reading
believe.
out the
Oh, I'm
numbers?
sorry, it's 4411.2, mosquito district. Sorry,
And
general government,
What number is that one?
I have to find it first.
4194.10.
Oh, I'm going the other way. Okay, thanks.
I always do.
4192?
94.
94.
All right, just buy it.
So this is the first half of an interesting conversation that police is gonna handle the second half of the conversation. So we had, our custodian retired this year.
Yep.
We brought in a contractor that, filled in at a different time for us, and we liked his work. We've heard positive feedback from recreation. So he works about 5 hours over for recreation, and 12 hours a week here. It's actually a small decrease. He's done a number of projects for us, including the floors, including your carpets in here. And so that, he's getting $225 a week. And I'll tell you, it's a deal. He's
That's actually done,
cleaning
right?
this whole building, and he's doing a good job at Talent. And we're not paying benefits and taxes and all that.
He does a good job.
So then we had a small increase when you look at the electric, and here's why. We took the dog kennel out of the police budget, and moved it to general buildings, because the police have worked into their budget the animal control officer duties.
Mhm.
So it's not a union position. I'm sure there will be conversations about assigning the duties to the officers, but it's a relatively small ask that they were doing, quite frankly, anyways. So that's why we moved the dog kennel to this budget, and you'll see it come out of the police station for both the electric and the propane.
Was the dog kennel even used this year? I mean, with how quickly dogs get picked up, brought to the station, social media has the owner within, under an hour.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I look at that whole dog kennel, and it's just, and the officer for it, and it's just, at this day and age, I just don't see it being utilized.
We've had a lot of conversations about this, the police and road agent, transfer station manager. And I have sat and had conversations, they really would like to keep the kennels. Like, they'd like to keep the physical kennels. Because if you ever had a situation where the dog wasn't picked up, unless we had a contract with the Humane Society, which is what a lot of, towns do, right? And you certainly have National Humane Society, but those contracts cost you. Could we use the building for something else and retain the kennels? Highway and transfer station, they say drain the pipes, close it up, bring the heat down.
Yep.
Keep it at a minimum.
Yep.
I just hate having an empty building that's not being used, especially with the space issues that we have. Now, could we use it for storage? Because there's a large section of the building that isn't the kennels, right?
Yep.
And there is a small bathroom in there. Maybe if it was secure enough, we could use it for storage. And just keep the kennels. But it's a conversation that we need to have, because you're right, it was not used.
No, it's,
How big is it? Size of
Size
these
of
tables,
front?
or
Maybe not.
half this building, half this room?
Do you think it's?
I don't know how big it is, I kinda go by it
I
when I
think
hit the
if you,
dump, but it's
if
in
you
the
block
back.
off the
Kennels, but it's
kennels,
probably-
yeah,
oh, you're including the kennels? It's probably the size of this room
Yeah.
if you include the
yeah,
kennels.
Wow.
But the building itself is probably half this, and
Yeah,
then the
it's
kennels
not
come
wide.
off of it.
yeah. The kennels.
In the fire station currently, the old fire station, is that heated in the winter?
It is
It's heated to the bare minimum. It's kept at 55, I think.
Yeah. heated to keep the pipes from freezing.
Yep.
So is there anything in there
Could you put
now
a
that could go over that?
kennel in there, and if you ever needed to use one, go put it in there?
Like a boat.
I didn't mean to start that.
Sorry, Bob.
It's just a
Can't
lot,
fit it in there.
it's just a lot of money to keep a building maintained that we don't use.
Yep.
That's why I think we need to find a use for it. The problem is, it's not like the old fire station, so you can't drive stuff in and out of it. It's got limited use. But, I mean, I don't know, are there things that highway, because highway's the other area where we have real space issues, right? So much of their bay area is because of, equipment and things like that, chemicals, stuff like that, that has to be stored inside. So could you store some of that? I mean, it's a conversation we've been batting around for a couple months. But we don't think that the amount of activity requires a full-time animal control officer.
Yeah.
We just do not see it. So, that's where you'll see in the police budget, some savings cutting that line. The rest of it is pretty flat. There's some changes to, the electric rates and things of that sort, which is just coming from the tracking, and we've included the spreadsheets in there, doing the 3-year averages. Like I said, Heather's done a wonderful job tracking all this.
Look at the water again. Town hall, police, transfer station, highway is 3,500 or 3,300, and rec is just talent is 25. It's one building,
There's something
2
going on,
urinals,
yeah.
and 3 toilets. And 2
I've heard it since the moment I got here that there's something about town.
Every
town
single
water.
valve has been turned off, and that meter does not spin,
Does
so
not
it's
move.
not leaking anywhere. So that what brought him to go do the bucket test and how quick.
We
and
took
watch
pictures of the
meter in
meters
the
for
map.
48 hours, and it did not move.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why is it, and
I
the
don't
irrigation is, I thought maybe some of the irrigation, I talked to Ryan, he's like, nope, no irrigation off talents.
Nothing tied off of it. All the toilets have been rebuilt, so we're not leaking. We just can't figure it out, where the usage is going.
we even had Smith Plumbing over there,
Yeah.
trying to research it, and,
No idea.
but,
It's been a mystery for about 2 years now.
you know, I'll say gasoline, we had this conversation with budget last year, right? And they cut it. And we're gonna be over. So you can cut it all you want.
It's all the speculation of where's the dollar per gallon gonna be.
Who knows?
And
You don't know.
so we did go out and we, looked at fuel costs and where they're gonna be. I think all the predictions are saying around 340. So,
And what was this year's budget based on? 320?
yeah, I think he lit.
Was it
Isn't that what-
315, 320? Because it was up and down. Everybody kept, it was like a ping pong ball, that
He
one.
said, yeah.
For some reason, I remember 320.
Karen will find it, cause,
Remember a couple of years ago when Troy had it in, I think he had it in for like $2.50 a gallon, and Budget Committee slashed it to $2, and then
Yeah.
it shot up to like
Yep.
$4.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so I mean, we've got 30% left in the budget, and you're moving into when we're gonna be spending it plowing, I'm not saying that word, but,
Don't say it.
so, yeah.
It looks like it's averaging out 377 for 2022.
So,
Looks like whoever did the math in the spreadsheet that I just linked to.
so,
Close. The only time it comes down is when they tap into the reserves.
yes, yes.
And that's a false
And
drop in the price.
And diesel is difficult, because the fire station has a diesel, and that's a different type of, I'm learning all about different types
For
of
diesel.
diesel. But, so diesel, we took 4, and some of the economic indicators are saying you could take 390, but that makes me way too nervous.
I wouldn't.
We've seen it as high as 425,
Mm.
some of the bills.
So from July 22nd to June 23rd, the run rate for gasoline was 347.
Yeah, we budgeted
The
359 for 2023, and they cut 14,174 out of it.
So whatever that math comes out to be based off the usage, right? And we used probably what, 15,000 gallons?
Yeah.
So they probably took $1 a gallon almost off of it? 80 cents?
So, I mean, if you look at the run rate came out right about 59 for the last 3 years. For the last 12 months, sorry. I think even at 60, we're being
Yeah, about
conservative.
280 a gallon.
280 a gallon is what they ended up with for the budget. And we're running 347.
It's a tax cap.
So we're
There it goes.
we're plugging in 340 a gallon?
340, yes.
So we think it's gonna go down 7 cents a gallon as an average next year?
I
I don't see that.
this nice little, energy outlook and, economic indicator, that I always say that's kind of like the weatherman, right?
Yeah, it changes
It's a
every week.
crapshoot.
They can be right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, but basically, everything else, the only thing I'll say, and you can cut it, I put $1,000 into the furniture line.
Mhm.
The reason being is,
Mhm.
see those chairs?
Oh, yeah.
We actually tried to fix some of, well, I didn't. Our contractor tried to fix some of them, but some of them are beyond repair and we're just gonna start taking them out of here.
Yep.
Yeah.
so we might have no seats left for people. So, but there is a used, furniture place in Manchester
Yep.
that's very good for getting things like that. But,
Okay.
Especially with everybody closing brick and mortar these days.
yes, yes. So, that is that. We have been, so you have a lot of budgets left. I wanted to make sure that, you have some of the big ones, library, police,
Fire.
and fire coming on the 11th, so that's the majority. After that is my concern, because I would like to try to leave you at the cap, or below the cap.
Below would be nice.
Yes.
We have, well, here's, even if we get it there, right? And some of the department heads and Karen, we've had conversations, I think we can get you very close, if not just below. But here's what we're not gonna have. We're not gonna have Primex, and we're not gonna have the health insurance. So it could still get to the budget committee, and those two items come in, and it blows us back over.
And the warrant articles.
So. But I think it is important. Last year, I don't think it was under the cap when it went to the budget committee. Part of that was the cap itself. And some of that was just increases that it couldn't absorb.
But in all
Contract
fairness,
increase.
it's not our job to deliver a budget that is below the tax cap. It's our job to deliver a budget that fits the needs of the town and the people. The budget committee's job is to trim it to where it's below the tax cap. And they did that last year. And I thought we did a great job with the budget
Yep.
last year.
I mean, just with contractual services, we could not get under.
That and utilities, we were over.
You couldn't get under it.
Yeah, I felt bad for you because it was you were brand new and you had to sit through that, but I mean, I think we give very good budgets. We don't have a lot of frivolous spending here.
As of right now, they're projecting for health insurance to go up 7.6% for next year.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, pretty much the same growth as it was for this year, they're saying.
And so, I mean, it's a difficult year.
We knew
We
that
gotta
going in.
worry about
Yep.
We
health
said that last
insurance,
year.
Yeah, we gotta worry about health insurance, we gotta worry about, we have a union negotiations we haven't sat down yet for
Contract.
yet, so you have a contract. And these are big decisions, I mean, decisions that are gonna take you into the next coming years,
Yep.
so. If you scrimp too much, it's gonna really cause you some trouble.
We have to provide services.
Just pushing it down the road.
We can't not provide services.
Are we gonna have another tax cap discussion?
Yep.
At some point,
That's what it is.
raising that?
That's what it is.
Was it for this year, or we don't know yet?
It's 5% this year, but we'll be
Yeah.
there.
No, I know we're gonna hit the tax cap, but, whatever the cap, are we gonna go up more, is what I'm asking.
Oh,
Is it gonna be a warrant article to expand
to expand it further,
tax cap?
I don't think we do that.
No.
Not now,
You
but I
wait a
think
few
when-
years before you
Maybe
bring
down
that.
the road, but
Are you sure?
Free.
Well, you're saying it's already too short.
Free.
Yeah, it's already too short, is what you're saying.
Yep.
The voters will decide.
And I still don't think that when the voters approve a warrant article, I don't think that should be a hit on your
I agree.
budget the
Yeah.
next year. I
I
think
don't
that's
think
just.
people realize how that is applied to it.
It's just, the taxpayers have voted to override the tax cap by approving a warrant article or an expenditure outside of the budget. shouldn't go against your budget line, in my opinion. But it does, so
Yeah,
anyways.
you'll see it with fire, right?
Hmm.
So,
Is there any other ones that you want to squeeze in here tonight? We're running pretty good on time.
we can squeeze in patriotic?
Quick ones.
Patriotic.
Patriotic purposes, okay.
I
What's, what,
spoke with Mr. Calawa.
what's the number on that, please?
4583.
4583. Sorry, Steve, I'm just trying to save us
Gave
time
us the
at that-
kill shot.
Yeah,
Kept it flat.
okay. Very good. That's the end of that one.
That's the end of that.
That took all of 30
How about the
seconds.
selectmen
Where
budget?
was that?
Yeah, how about the selectmen budget? We're way at the beginning, so everyone's gonna scroll all the way back.
4130.
But
Got 10.
we didn't do it?
There's
Oh,
no-
we did patriotic, that's why. And we did Board of Selectmen.
Well,
Okay,
We
all
did
right, look at that.
okay, so
Perfect.
next week, or next meeting will be who?
Code and health, so Jeff will be here.
Yep,
Fire,
yep. Police.
ambulance, we are
Yep,
not prepared for,
yep,
yet. Emergency management, nothing.
Be interesting.
Mike will be here for police.
yep.
Then, Vicky for the library. Animal control's gone.
Yep.
Health agencies, which is really a warrant article, I've got the information, I gotta call, get the committee together. Insurance, which we don't
We don't know.
have at
Yep.
this point. Personnel administration, again.
Mhm.
Advertising, and then the revenue, review the revenue estimates.
So we don't have a revenue, but what about the advertising? Can we throw that off here real quick? Are we prepared to do that? Get that one out of the way, I'll put here, 4197.10. You're down $6.
That's a good budget.
That's a
There we
great
go,
budget.
right there.
I wholeheartedly approve of that.
Yeah, I mean, so when you look at it, it's NHMA, NRPC.
Yep.
NRPC did actually, give us, pretty much a flat. They went up on their solid waste and they went up on
Mhm.
the circuit rider a little bit, but this one, so,
But it's a $6 drop, so, I mean,
right.
you can't.
Well, there's not really anything, and that's public notices and ads and legal. I didn't check to see, I don't think we're,
Yeah, everything's flat. Okay.
the NRPC, I believe so. Is,
Did I just look at it wrong?
no, I'm sure you didn't. It's, that's, I didn't think they went up on this one, did they?
I don't know, who's this dues out of,
So we're clicking 6602. Oh, they did. Well, you're not gonna think it's a good budget anymore.
What do you have?
So, we attached the new invoice, but we didn't change the
The number?
spreadsheet.
Okay.
Up
So
to
what's that
$66.
for?
Up to $308 increase now.
Yeah, 314 is NRPC.
NRPC, okay.
Karen's eyes caught it.
So 308,
308, yep.
okay.
I just wanted to say, I know we've had,
Again, it's contractual, so it's not, I mean, it is what it is.
yeah, and we're right on really with the printing, and public notices. That's hard to say,
Yeah.
because if you have a year that you have a lot of public hearings that you have to notice, but it's only half spent, actually a little under half spent right now.
Okay.
Could just take a few out, but I wouldn't at this
Yeah.
point.
No, I'd leave it where it is. $300 is pretty decent. It's still a good budget. Okay,
Now we wanna move on?
now we'll go on to the next thing. Let me get my thing to work here. Okay, town administrator reports.
Okay, so I did go last Friday and spent some time up at Primex.
Mhm.
I have a bunch of information that they have given us on recommendations. So police and fire and the road agent and I are meeting later this week to take that information and come up with our recommendations for a policy. And we don't think it should be just parades, we think it should be events, just an event policy, and how we can work it out. The next item is the website. So I've still been receiving, I've received quite a few complaints
Mhm.
on the website.
Okay,
Both from in town and out of town. So when I last spoke to you about it, I said that we had gotten a quote from Civic Plus. It was, between $20,000 to $25,000. We've found another vendor that we're looking at. If you go to Merrimack, Merrimack, Mass, that they designed that website. They've designed a bunch of other websites. They're working with Hillsborough and some smaller New Hampshire towns. And we've got a quote for about 13,000. And that would be with police and fire separate. So when Mr. Brunel gets back, we're gonna sit and have a technical conversation with them, because that would include branding for the town, really the whole nuts to bolts. And depending on how the technical conversation goes, we'd like to come back and have a conversation with you about maybe using some funds left in the budget, should there be any, to embark on a real website.
So is that 13 to convert or 13 per year?
No, 13 to convert.
And how much for an annual fee?
It would, so they would web host it.
Yep.
And they charge $199 a month. And that's to host it and make changes that we couldn't make in staff. But they would provide training in-house so that we could, department heads could make changes.
How much do we pay now?
how much are we paying now?
Right now, well,
It's in-house.
nothing.
It's in-house?
It's homegrown.
Okay,
Yes, nothing.
Is it ADA and all that? Because
No, it is not.
NRPC just did their website
The,
over, and it was all had to be
J-
ADA.
yeah, Guilfoyle is it's ADA.
Oh, so the new website
The
will
new
be,
one would be ADA. They're working off an ADA template. Ours currently is not.
so whoever has to compare the old one to the new one and see what's we have that's good and they have that's good and do that analysis, right? And then I think
And then
Like
if
a
we
return on
wanted to look
investment,
at a
but what is it?
mobile app down the road, they do that, but that would be an additional fee. But that, that would be something we could look at down the road. Best practice is you don't have fire and police as part of the same site.
we don't today.
You do today.
You do have that today, so that would be a reason not to. All right, so we can just look at them both and figure out if there's a return on investment quickly for the public or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who serves now?
We do.
Yeah, I know, but no, it's hosted off a company. We manage it. Can't think of the name. It's the same one that does the rec.
Is it in the budget, would the budget? Tell us. I've never
Discuss this.
seen,
This is out of my league.
I've never seen an individual line or bill for
It's not
web
an expensive
hosting.
bill.
Have you?
No,
Not at all.
I do my own website.
Oh,
It's not-
sorry.
I've never
You
seen,
tripped it.
No, that's me.
Will it fill the gaps of whatever complaints you're getting? I don't know what kind of complaints are coming towards you from the public.
It's
but-
definitely a nice-looking website, I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at it.
so the internal complaints have been that they don't have control, right? That nobody can update material.
So that turns over to the department heads then, or
Right, so that would,
commission chairs or whatever.
that would bring more,
That's good.
internal. But I don't know who's, if we're paying a hosting charge,
They're not that expensive.
There is definitely, the Rex was like 300 a year.
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine. It's
I
nothing.
can't
Does
think
that
of.
sound
That includes them
familiar?
jumping in
Yeah,
if you need
domain
help.
services, Litchfield, nh.gov, Litchfield dash, NH, Litchfield.
That's the-
Oh, so those must be just,
The
our
domain.
The domain
emails.
names are
Domain
separate,
names,
and then you
yeah.
have to host it every
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
They, you pay to put it up there.
Website hosting services. What does it say, $3.15 each?
That's about right. We just said that, yeah.
You just said that, right,
Yep.
Steve?
Plugins, $150.
And what does it say? Does it say who it is?
Looks like he budgets $650. No, it just says website hosting services.
It's a common platform that you could do yourself.
Yeah.
I just can't think of the
It's
name.
not WordPress.
WordPress.
WordPress it is, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's all WordPress based.
okay.
Guys, still talking about this stuff.
That sounds
All right, so I'll move, we'll be back, with more information. So there's a leadership meeting on September 6th, with department heads. Budget chair is also coming in to, speak with me that morning, and then I'll share it with the rest of the team. You may have already seen information, Friday, October 6th, 6:30, it's the fire truck parade. And October 14th, 1 to 4 is the fire department open house, for Fire Prevention Week. The CERT team, we haven't forgotten an incredible amount of training. So, I've done 2. There's 3 that are initial to starting. And I've completed 2. Mike's got them down, already from his, but they probably an hour and a half. And then we hope to register and as a town, and start advertising to get, people that are interested in volunteering, and then they will go through the same training that we're doing right now. That's where they'd start. And most of it is online and has tests at the end of it. So we didn't forget you. We're working on it. Last week we had a right to know training, that came in. That was sent to all staff. And they were asked to complete, a form saying that they had watched the training.
Are you gonna make that training available to all the commissions too?
I did send it out to the commission chairs,
Okay.
but we didn't make it, we made it mandatory for the staff, the department heads, not for the boards and commissions. There's the stormwater asset management that I spoke about, earlier, October 24th, from 10 to 12. And invitations will be going out on that, in the next couple days. Saint Gobain, everyone's looking for information, and DES is not giving very much at this point. But we're trying, I know some of the town managers and town staff, we're trying to get as much information as we can. It's very limited. And it's not fast. They're not gone tomorrow. It's gonna
gonna
take
be
well
years, yeah.
into 2024. And they have some labor contractual issues and things too. Hillcrest water expansion, that is well underway, so they've been to planning, they've been to conservation. We are looking, Jeff and Joan and myself have asked to be in the pre-construction meeting. I had a very good conversation with Penachuk's head on the project last week. They will be filing permits for all the plumbing changes, and they actually hire plumbers to come out and do the work. They send out letters to the homeowners that are involved if they want to sign up, and there's a piece of it where, well, people that have irrigation systems will be allowed to keep their wells, the irrigation system on the well. So, also Lou is watching the construction of, on the road and all of that very closely. So we think we've got a good handle on it, but it is gonna come up.
You said you and Jeff are gonna, wanna be in on it?
So Jeff and I and probably Lou would be already going. And Joan, we've asked to be up on the pre-construction meeting, just so that we know where they're starting, what areas of the roads are gonna be affected.
Is she going for planning? Is that what that's?
Yes.
Okay.
Twin States Clean Energy, if you remember, they came and did a presentation here. They are now starting these informational sessions. And so the first is in Londonderry on September 6th at the senior center. And that's the transition line from into Quebec.
It's hydropower, right?
And most of it is existing roadways or existing over.
Yep.
So it's really not any additional. So then that's it as far as updates.
CIP?
Ms. Selectman Queenan, I think.
Oh, it's just, okay, this is right here. Under your,
Yeah,
Yeah.
under your heading, yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, yep.
Is that for you?
No, but it's pretty much the same thing I'm saying.
So those are we did have, Mr. Brown couldn't make the last meeting, he's coming September 7th, and, recreation, conservation, I just spoke with Mr. Brennan the other day, and then it's schools, so, I have a conflict, that has arisen, and I need to take some time for a personal issue. So I will probably be working from home and doing some, but I'll be off-site on the 7th, the 8th, the 11th, and 12th. But I'll use
Okay.
earned time, but I have a family issue. That's all.
Up next, selectmen reports. Mr. Weber?
I unfortunately missed the last rec meeting due to a work obligation, but it was more about discussing the budget and the field maintenance contract, which we heard earlier. The next meeting is next Tuesday evening.
Mr. Lynch is not here tonight, so emergency management, school facilities, and conservation, we will through the reports there. Mr. Gannon with Heritage Commission.
Meeting's been pushed till September due to a lack of space. The meeting rooms are busy, so we're gonna meet again in September.
Planning Board, capital improvement.
Okay, in order. Let's see.
Any order you want.
Any order? How about by date?
Okay.
All right, Economic Development Committee. We will be meeting Wednesday, August 30th, Town Hall here at 6 to 8 p.m. Right now, that's a monthly meeting, so there's not much to report there. Planning Board is Tuesday, September 5th at the Town Hall, 7 to 9 p.m. I did not attend the last one because of a medical, dental issue. Anything that you want to report? You had watched it, right? The Planning Board?
The planning
If
board,
there's anything substantial, I mean, I know what happened, but I mean, anything other substantial? Just
No.
normal business, right?
yes, they
Okay.
just talked about the Hillcrest, yeah.
Capital Improvement Plan Committee, we meet September 7th and September 13th at the fire station at the community room, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Let's see, NRPC has its quarterly full commissioners report on Wednesday, September 20th, 30 Temple Street in Nashua. Again, that's quarterly, so I don't have anything to report yet. And the last item is the Litchfield Energy Commission. We'll meet September 21st at the Town Hall at 6 p.m. Kim, you just mentioned you heard something from them, or no? Did you hear anything about the Energy Commission?
I did, so one of the items that they have to do is put out a survey to the community, see if the community is interested. So that's our next meeting. We'll be discussing that, and they've sent over a draft that the committee can start to review.
Thank you.
And I think Chairman's son is going to attend the energy meeting from the Budget Committee.
Yes, yes.
He said he'd do the first one. Not a lot of hands went up.
We'll engage him. It's a good group, really interesting conversation.
So Budget Committee met last week, just basically getting ready to fire up the engine for this year. Meet again on the 28th of September. Again, I just stated Mr. Sun will sit in on the Energy Committee. And that's really all for that. There was nothing to write home about. So, is there anything else that anyone wants to discuss before we go into non-public? Okay. So we will entertain a motion to go into non-public.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Weber,
Second.
second by Ms. Queenan. We will go into non-public under,
Two,
Steve?
there's two of them.
Under RSA 91-A:3, 2. The dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charge against him or her, unless the employee affected, 1, has the right to a meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, in which case this request shall be granted, and then B, the hiring of a person as a public employee.
So we had a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah,
We
I
have a
second it.
second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. We are now going into non-public at 8:34. Everyone at home, have a wonderful night. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.